Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Inside Battlefield. My name is Tom, Community Manager for Battlefield, and today we have another special Community Spotlight episode where we are joined by a member of the community, Comet. Comet, welcome.
Hi, thanks.
Glad that you're here. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, welcome, man. Nice to see you.
Hi, Comet.
It's great to be here.
So we'll get to know you better as we chat today about, what brought you to Battlefield and how are you connected to the community. And with me on the team are Joe and Manuel. So let's maybe start with a quick introduction from our team. So Joe, welcome back.
Oh yeah, glad to be back, Tom.
I think technically this is your third episode.
Yes, technically.
So could you start again, please, with a short introduction about yourself and what you do with DICE?
Yeah, my name is Joe Puralewski. I am the narrative lead on Battlefield 2042. Been at DICE for nearly 2 years now, and basically, at this point, oversee all things Battlefield 2042 narrative.
Awesome. What about you, Manuel?
Hi, I'm Manuel. I'm the creative director on 2042 Live. So I joined 2042 October a year ago, 13 months ago, or whatever it is. But I've been at DICE for a while, since 2005, and I ran out of fingers counting, but I think it's like 18 years or something, like 19 almost, something beyond my ken.
Oh, a while, he said casually, since 2005. It's quite a while.
Yeah.
NBD.
But, trying to be like wine and not like vinegar, aging gracefully. But yeah, I've been here for a while. So I worked on Bad Company 1, first game, and a bunch of the others, Mirror's Edge and BF3, BF4, Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, BF1, BF5. And I didn't have the luck of contributing to 2042, which sometimes I might call Kingston. Apologies, that's the project name. Yep. So my brain is broken. But I was lucky enough to join it a year ago. So before season 3, during season 2. So it's been really wonderful to be able to contribute to it.
And bonus question, what did you first do when you joined DICE for Bad Company? What was your role then?
I was the lead level designer for a game called Next that then became Bad Company 1. And I worked actually in more than levels, in story characters. I came from Ubisoft. I was 5 years in Ubi and worked on a bunch of Rainbow Six games. So I had some single player experience to contribute to bring over. So I was a single player lead for BC1.
Awesome.
Coming up with Haggard and characters. Fun stuff.
Ton of experience in the room here. That's pretty cool. So, Comet, how's it for you to join us here today and talk to the gang?
It's surreal. I'm very thankful for being here, and I can't wait to talk some narrative and
have fun. As I said before, it's really cool, for us as a team to connect with community members like yourself in this way. So we technically skipped your intro, so let's do that first.
Geez, who's running this podcast?
Sorry, you would think I know how to run a podcast by now, but Comet, so welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what do you do in your spare time?
I'm Comet. I like to write a lot. I'm a avid follower of the Battlefield narrative, and I'm from the U.S. I'm on the East Coast, and I run the website, the Exodus Archives. It's a website where I cover all things narrative, and there's also some awesome fan-submitted stories too. And just happy to be here.
Anyone listening, or everyone listening actually, should run over right after listening to this and check it out. It is one of the coolest sites I have seen. It is awesome work.
Agreed.
It's
and also
really cool.
Every time someone mentions the Exodus Archives, I see like a sparkle in Joe's eyes. He's like,
it's such a cool thing that community run, community over, managed, and it's just so fun to see all the stories come together and all the new stories that come out of it.
So thank you for for getting that going, Comet. It's been really cool for the team to see that, and we have some questions for you because we want to get to know you better as a player and a community member, and we of course want to talk a little about the Exodus Archives as well because it's super cool. Comet, let's ask you a few questions. So we got to know you a little bit, who you are, but when and how were you introduced to Battlefield? Because we're all here today for Battlefield. So maybe let's start there.
Yeah, so I joined in Battlefield 1. I remember it was like a free-to-play weekend. My friend Nick got me onto the game, and then I bought it after that, and I've been playing ever since. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.
Shout out to Nick, who got Comet introduced to the Battlefield universe. Pretty awesome. And how would you describe yourself as a Battlefield player and as a Battlefield community member?
Yeah, as a player, I am infantry only. I'm not very good at vehicles, to be honest. I mostly dive in a lot. I like playing assault. And as a community member, I just like helping people, I'm passionate about the narrative. I want more people to be involved in it. So anything that I can do to help people, join the journey, that's me. Yeah. So
awesome. And yeah, Joe and Manuel, if you have more questions, feel free to jump in as well.
I was going to ask, so who's your go-to specialist?
Well, so I play assault, but I love Blasco. I just love the gameplay that she has. Yeah.
I think she's actually one of the more popular ones.
Yeah.
Like her skill set is, pretty damn awesome. Which I think both. So you and your team wrote the narrative. I think for. Yeah. So Joe and the team wrote the narrative for Blasco, and Manuel, I think you worked on the character design, I believe.
It's mostly the team, but I love Blasco. As a person, as an Italian with a Spanish heritage, I was like, oh, she speaks Spanish. Look, the accent, awesome. No, it's a cool character. It's a very nice character.
Yeah, but before I forget, Blasco was specifically handled by Diana, who did a phenomenal job developing that character and building it into just an awesome addition to the
for sure
specialists.
No, that's, I think, again, a question for you then, Comet. How was, when we introduced her in season 4? Was
season
it 4? But yeah, like how was it to get her as a new specialist in season 4 for you as a player?
It was so cool. Yeah. I remember back in season 2, there was a player card that kind of hinted to her. She helped the Exodus in Panama from some pirates.
Yeah.
And then right before season 4 came out, there was a player card that detailed her transporting some technology for Oz. And, she found out that it was destined for Rashid Zayn. And she was like, oh, I'm going to talk to him because we knew each other, but I didn't know he was helping Oz. So yeah, just the build up to her coming into the narrative was really cool. Love it.
It's a funny thing. I hadn't thought about it for a while, but you've reminded me of just how much foreshadowing we did for that character. Because you're right. It was the season 2 web lore was when we first just hinted at this character and who they were, and then just slowly peppered in all of these little details across 2 and 3, and then finally had a big reveal for her in 4.
It's amusing to me that, we build so much as a team, and we work on multiple seasons, and then going back now and hearing from you, Comet, like how that came together for you as a player, like, and Joe's like, oh yeah, we did actually do that. That was pretty cool,
Hey, it worked.
It worked. So that's
this
really,
thing we planned on actually worked.
It's the best. Like hearing how a player experiences and the different journeys. That's super rewarding.
Yeah.
So another question then for you, Comet. What's your history with Battlefield? And you mentioned Battlefield 1 and your friend Nick introduced you, but how did it go? Like Battlefield 1 you played, and what came after? Did you try the other games, or what's your history of Battlefield look like?
Yeah, so I'm on Xbox. So I played BF1 for pretty much the entire life cycle, and then I started with BF5, and I've went back and tried BF4 too. So I've tried to expand my horizons a bit.
Yeah. How was it going back to the older games?
It was cool. Yeah, I played the campaign. Because Irish. When he was introduced into 2042, I was like, oh, I got to go back and actually experience that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Awesome. And I guess the shout out to Irish as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's. I always love when we can find ways to. Irish was a great first step for us to like, hey, how do we revisit past characters and bring them back in a meaningful way?
And we're now in 2042, so I would love to hear your thoughts as well about 2042 in general. Where we came from at launch, but where we are now, what we did with all the seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, but like it's been really fun. I speak a lot from like a narrative sense, but gameplay wise, I think it's the best right now during season 6. I'm very happy with the game right now.
What would you say it was that drew you to the narrative originally? Like what was it about it that was like, that's something I want to invest so much time in, I'm going to build a website dedicated to it? How did you get there?
I mean, yeah, that's quite a loaded question. I'd say
no pressure on answering that.
Yeah. Well, when the game was revealed, I was quite excited. And I also just looked through the website entirely. I tried to learn as much as I could. And I got to the backstory section and I read what this world has been through. And the mysteries that were going to be uncovered throughout the live service. And I thought, I want to go on that journey. And so as for the Access Archives, I remember I was on a trip, but it was right before season 1 came out, and I loaded up the webpage, and there was no like tweet that went out, I'm pretty sure, but the season 1 web lore came out, and I started reading it, and it was all like redacted and stuff, but it had this guy named Wolf, and I can't remember exactly what was shown besides like everything being redacted, but yeah, that then and there, I was like, this is pretty cool. And it was continuing the thread with Oz and what we saw in the Extra short film, and then I started exploring the exposure map and had a blast. I wrote on Reddit about it, and I just got a lot of positive comments about me, kind of diving into the map, exploring it, explaining its purpose into the narrative. And yeah, then I just thought, hey, let's make a website. And yeah.
So before, were you already into, so you've always been into writing, I think? Or did that start with Battlefield, or did you before write stories about, maybe other things?
I mean, as a kid, I would write. I'm not sure if that's really counts, but
yeah,
it always counts, man.
It always counts.
In terms of 2042, definitely got me in. Yeah, it definitely it made me go down writing more, go down that path more. Yeah,
I think I hope for Joe that is, and the team, that's super cool to hear.
Like can you talk a little bit about what that means for you?
So I'm currently in college, and I was a computer science major, but then I switched to English because of the archives, and just
wow.
I don't know. I just had this, I had this this change, and I thought, I want to go down this path. I don't know. And it's been awesome ever since. So that's really
something to hear, man.
Yeah, that's cool. Takes a moment to sink in for.
Yeah. No, it's
cool.
yeah.
So, we talked a little bit about the Exodus archives, what got you writing, being connected to Battlefield, but let's talk more about the Exodus archives themselves, Comet. So you gave a quick little overview of what they are, but, let's maybe dive in there more. So, just feel free to talk in detail about what they are, more about how you got started, what you're currently working on, where folks can find it. Take it away.
Yeah, so the Exodus Archives is the name of the website. It's also the name of the website in universe for my own little like Splinter storyline that I had. Because I made a character. He's an Estonian journalist. His name is Manuel Llanes, and I liked Kayvan Bashir, and his journey with the Notepads. So I wanted to do my own little spin on that. And so when I launched the site about over a year ago, I had the Untitled archives, and that is basically all of the narrative into little kind of sometimes bite-sized, sometimes larger archives. Basically do with like maps or quite big archives. And so that's just one of the sections. There's also the Notepad Adventures, which is a section dedicated to all fan-submitted stories. So there's some wonderful people in the community that wanted to give those stories to the archives, and they're up there. And it's still being added to this day. There's still people writing. So it's pretty incredible to see that. And then the third and final section is the player card archives, because player cards are very important to the narrative. And having them all in one place is, just useful to have. So
I'm looking now again at the player cards and all the submitted stories. There is so much material. This thing is huge. It's lovely. People should definitely check it out.
Was there a moment after you started the site where all of a sudden it started picking up and you were like, holy shit, this is like turning into a thing? Was there a moment like that for you?
I mean, it kind of started right when I launched it. I launched it on August 26th of last year. And I woke up, well, actually, I published everything like literally at midnight, right when it turned to the 26th.
Wow.
Just kind of wanted to, make sure everything's good and publish it right when it turned. And then I woke up and I hopped on Twitter and I saw some DICE developers shouting at the site, and that was just incredible.
Wow.
And yeah, it was basically that was like pretty big boost. I wasn't expecting like a whole lot, but that was awesome to see. And I'd say recently the biggest boost was the season 6 rollout. All of that stuff with the map of the facility, all the new web lore. Yeah, just a lot of attention there, which is really cool.
And I would love to talk about that a bit more as well, because there's, I don't know if we have time today, but there's so much to talk about there for season 6, Redacted, Dark Protocol, like the story around it. But one thing I would also like to hear comment is, you mentioned fan submitted stories to the Exodus archives, but I believe you also mentioned, you have your own Discord server.
Yes.
Or at least I know you have your own Discord server. I don't think you mentioned it here today yet, but you got in touch with like some community members through Reddit and just writing, and they got involved as well. So now there's you started the site, but I guess you build up a little sub community there as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, those I maybe a little shout out to those people. Gene, Sledge, ANZ, Polsky, Meese, all these guys that are in my little community, they're the best. And I'm sorry if I missed anyone, but just off the top of my head, they're awesome. They're like a support network for the archives. Yeah, I just to be clear, I'm like the main writer, like, but those people, they're just as much as the archives as me.
Yeah.
So
basically, a team, and you write lore stories and work on that together.
yeah, I mean, we just bounce around ideas. Yeah.
And I just have to say, before I forget to say it, like I often forget to say things, thank you so much to all of you. Like, it's hard to put into words how lucky we are as a team to have people like you engaging how you are. Like, in a lot of ways, it's because of people like you that let us keep telling stories, because we
Absolutely.
see people engaging and we see people reacting or spinning up theories and trying to predict where this thing is going. And we're so lucky. We're so lucky.
Yeah. And I think, Comet, it's also very fun for us, as I mentioned earlier, as a team to connect with, yourself, and all as a player from within the community, because, as a community member, you write stories, etc. But there's other community members who are like, they have sub-communities of like piloting vehicles in Battlefield. And it's just really cool to see all these different sub-communities and what draws them to the game, how they are connected, and, where they chat with each other, like Reddit, Discord, how they connect. It's something that keeps us going as a team and makes it fun for us to just do more stuff and hopefully do cooler stuff as well. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. That's super rewarding to hear, and it's group storytelling or collective, world building. All those exercises are something I guess mankind has done forever, and they're awesome. Like Lovecraft and had a whole bunch of other famous writers working in his own universe. And as a tabletop RPG guy, there's nothing more joyful than here, that you run with something, with a setting or with some characters, and go in your own, whether it's headcanon or multiverse, but your own lore directions with friends. That's the best. So it's really, thank you all.
Do you also like play the game together as a gang? For example, you submitted some stories, you wrote something, like, do you go jump into the game together and, see what there's to see around you, maybe based on what you wrote about, or how's that work?
Yeah, I mean, we look to squad up occasionally. With season 6, we make little events in our Discord server to, come hop on and play. And just sometimes we just explore, and especially with the narrative hunts, we can sometimes guesstimate when they're going to happen, so we all hop on at that time and start looking around.
We might be a bit predictable.
Here we think we're being secret,
No, I make no illusions. You guys are on to us.
Yeah, I think that's the fun thing as well. Like, maybe we've become a bit predictable, and when we do things at some point, but the community is also really good at finding out stuff. If we have like a secret, they will know about it pretty soon. They get together, in Discord.
As long as we don't get predictable with how you solve them, that's
the one. Comet, do you want to give a shout out to your Discord channel, maybe, or maybe you don't actually? In case folks that are interested in the narrative want to join you.
Yeah, sure. It's aptly called the MFS04 Exodus.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's also, it's pinned in my Twitter account. It's my pinned tweet, so you can hop over there. And we'd love to have you. We're always, looking forward to talking narrative, talking lore. Yeah.
Awesome. And I think your Twitter handle is at Comet307.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So go visit him on Twitter there, and then check out his pinned tweet to find the Discord. Then the bonus question is, is there anything you'd like to share with the team, now that you have a chance to chat with us on the podcast?
I'd say, I don't know. I'm loving it. I hope it continues, and I can't wait to see how the narrative evolves. Yeah.
on the spot question. What's the one prediction conspiracy theory you have?
It's a good one.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
that's a
okay.
good one.
I got a couple recently.
Here we go. Let's go.
So one of mine is that the spy that the Eastern Forces had in the Brace facility was Crawford, because we saw it in the trailer that he did die. And also in the new Codex entries, it mentions that the spy was he, because I thought the spy was someone else before that. And yeah, I'm interested to see how that trailer, because it was telling a story. You know, it had the BCS guards trying to combat the rebellion, and but yeah, that Crawford death kind of it seemed like it meant something. So yeah.
I'm trying to read Joe's face.
Oh, I'm just going to nod and smile and not confirm or deny anything that's being said. I wouldn't be doing my job if I was.
Awesome. Is there anything, shout out you want to give to like the Battlefield community? Thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to everyone that interacts with me on Twitter, on Discord. It's awesome to, it's great to feel that support and to feel that excitement that a lot of people have towards the narrative, just like me. So thank you so much. Shout
out to the Battlefield community. And we also, wanted to give you the chance to ask a few questions yourself. So we did a lot of talking, but I think you reconvened with some of the Exodus Archives gang and have a few questions that you wanted to ask us. So, let's have them.
Yeah, sure. So the first question is, player cards act as puzzle pieces in the seasonal narrative. What is the process for writing player cards? Do you work out events for them, or do they spawn during the narrative writing process?
I would say it's a little bit of both. When we look at a season, we have a narrative arc that we want to tell. So we always look at all the different pieces we have to tell story, and then we set aside certain beats that we want in the player cards. In some seasons, it's a more linear story through the player cards. In other seasons, it's more world building focused. But we always try to map it out and then kind of tackle the beats we want and make sure there's an order to them. And we always find more as we're going through the writing process. Like we might stumble upon an idea that inspires us to go in a different direction, or we might need to pivot for one reason or another. But like there's always a plan of some sort for what we're trying to build for that season, whether it's, like I said, world building, a linear narrative, teases or hints for things to come. Like the player cards, as I'm sure you've seen, have lots of teases and clues in them, or things that are just vague enough where we're trying to tell you something, but we're not telling you what. We're not giving you any answers.
Yeah, I mean, with this season's player cards, it's pretty cool. Yeah, the story being told is pretty linear, I'd say, and I kind of already put together an order for them, but I'm just kind of waiting to see how everything shakes out with like future player cards. But yeah, it's obviously something that I enjoy quite a bit. So,
well, thank you. Like, and I'm gonna shout out Diana again, because they did all of the writing and on all of those player cards, and I think they are probably some of the best we've done.
Agreed.
I agree. Yeah.
Shout out to Diana. Yeah, feel free to continue asking the next questions.
Yeah, what else you got?
What is
Yeah.
Give them.
What are some learnings that the narrative team took after season 4/5 wrapped up?
Yeah. So what are some of the learnings? I think never stop exploring. I think always live service is always a fun melting pot of ideas and calamities and hardships and joy. And as you go through it, I'm always looking for new opportunities for how to tell story and how to deliver it to our player. And how do we, I think that's my biggest learning, is where are the new opportunities? Like where can we find new ways to push things? Like we brought the Codex in with Redux, and, we started exploring, how can we expand and work more with our art and cosmetics team to expand narrative in those places? And just how can we continuously get better as creators to look for new ways to tell story? I think that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I would agree, Joe. I mean, we worked quite a lot together, and has been, well, of course, it's very intentional to try to infuse narrative, whether it's in the map, in the inward storytelling, or Reclaimed, or for Redacted, in the player cards, in the loading screens, for example, stuff that we wish we had since the beginning, no? But it's never too late to infuse more narrative value into the cosmetics, the skins, wherever we can. Because that's the interesting, the fun part, is to do a mix of linear and archaeological sort of narrative where you, as an audience member, can, if you're interested, at least you can piece together things and connect dots. That's a fun way to interact with the story in a way.
Yeah, I know this is something, Manuel, you and I have talked about a lot, which is when you're telling a story in a live service, it's with a multiplayer experience, you can't just tell a linear story because you're not a single player campaign. So it becomes about how can you spread the pieces of story across different components and kind of let the player engage and unpack it and assemble it in the way that excites them.
Was that a good answer?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. What else do you have?
How are the factions of Battle 20x2 created?
Ooh,
that's a good one.
So when we say factions, we're talking about like Unit 86 and Boreas. Is that what we're talking about?
Or like the Archangel, maybe?
Yeah, like Archangel Legion, Leviathan Division, yeah.
I mean, it's really a collaborative process. It's a bit of working with Manuel, for example, on when we were working on season 6 and working with our art director, Joseph McLam.
Hey, Joseph.
And
Hi,
hey, Joseph. And basically sitting down and thinking about, okay, what are the objectives that we want for this season? What are the themes we want to explore and play with? And, what excites us from a art standpoint, and then what excites us from a narrative standpoint. So sometimes a concept for something might come from art, where it's like, hey, we want to do this really cool thing, and how do we inject narrative into it? And other times I might go to Joseph and be like, hey, we have this idea for a thing we want to explore. What can we do here? How can we build something? And there is never one hard rule. It's more collaborative.
Indeed, it's very fluid and a fun collaboration. Because sometimes you can have, Joseph could have just an image that spins up the wheels and the conversations.
Yeah.
Other times it's more like a thematic. Say if you take 5 at its most simplest terms, 5. The message with 5 was. Were a bunch of things we were thinking about. One was giving a signal of going back somewhat gameplay-wise and thematically to BF4, a bit of a rebirth, if you will, with the Echoes of Zavod in Reclaimed, but there was also the theme of defending your own homeland with a more survivalist feral visuals for one of the factions, where so the invader faction was more like a corporate military type one. So that there was that theme of invader and defending your homeland, that type of stuff. And for 6, 6 speaks for itself. Is pretty. It worked out with with 86 and the Ascension Company and the Geist.
The Geist are awesome.
The no pants, as someone called them on Reddit.
Thanks, Reddit.
Thank you, Reddit.
Never change.
Never change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next question then.
All right, this is kind of on the spot. So, do you have a favorite, or do you both have a favorite player card in terms of description or like the background itself? Like,
Joe, you go. I like so many player cards.
Yeah,
I mean, I have a soft spot. You're gonna cut this, but I have a soft spot for the sort of in memoriam player card that was done last July, I think, got out for the BF Friends.
Yeah.
So that, but that's because if you need to pick like a favorite one, that's the one that I got, the goosebumps and the tear. But it's a bit of a special case. But there are so many.
Yeah, I would say for myself, I have a soft spot for narrative hunt player cards for obvious reasons. I quite like the one titled The Messenger, because that kind of was our first introduction to a character, and I'm trying to be careful about what I say here. But yeah, that was kind of a turning point in our storytelling where we kind of decided to chase a crazy idea. So I think The Messenger is probably my favorite for just...
I see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
that one is pretty cool.
Next question.
Do theories from the community influence the reveals of major story beats?
I love this question. So it's one of the very, very fun things about our game and our community is we get so much engagement back and forth with you guys on stuff like this. And we see comments, we see ideas, and I don't know off the top of my head, I can't say that like there's ever been an example of a specific thing that's like, oh, we latch on to a community idea and then run with it. But we pay attention to them and we look at them and we see the sorts of things they are engaging with and embracing. And it's like, oh, okay, how do we make sure we have a chance to lean into those elements? Like,
I think you could say they inspire in a way, right? Not maybe directly a specific event.
Yeah.
But that relationship is inspirational and it gets your creative juices flowing.
And I can say there has also been instances where something has been missed or misinterpreted. And that's something where like I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how do I course correct? How do I make sure the thing that we want them to see is actually there? And what can we do in the future to re-highlight the thing that maybe they missed? But yeah, it's definitely a watching and learning and seeing what we can take on as inspiration. It's a partnership of inspiration, like reading what the community says and engaging with it.
And really, in a way, is not unlike the relationship with anything that is from the community, with gameplay wise as well, level design wise. It pays, and we're always that sounds scary and stalkery, but we're always listening, always reading.
We're always watching.
We're always on Reddit.
Yeah. Because I mean, this is not to go on a tangent about servant leadership, but this is a creative business that you're doing for the players. You're not doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, Comet, thank you for those questions. We are almost out of time. So I want to give everybody, or at least you, Comet, like a chance to, is there anything you want to say to the community or something before we, and end the podcast for today? Any final thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I'd say if anyone's listening to this and they're new to the narrative, I'd say season 6 is the best place to hop on because it's getting interesting. There's a lot to look through, and I think we would all love to have you join us on this journey. So, yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. Second shout out to the Exodus archives.
Yeah.
Go check it out, everyone listening.
Yeah.
Contribute something. It's a great site, and there's lots of nice stories to tell.
Awesome. And then Joe, Manuel, thank you as well for being here together with Comet. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I would love to do this more often, where we chat as a gang with community members. Any final shout outs from the both of you before we end it today?
I don't know. I'm terrible at this, and it's my first podcasting ever. But thank you, players. Thank you, community, for dedicating some of your time to this game. And I really hope that no matter, the imperfections, and God knows there are many, and the things to fix, but that you can have time play with your friends, play with your future friends, just have built some good memories. If we have helped in any way to help make you create some new memories, that's what the whole thing is about. So thank you.
Awesome.
Well, there's no way I'm going to top that. That was beautiful. I will also add just a huge thank you to everyone on our team who's been working on season 6. Like, I have never been at this point in a project and seen such a rallying cry of passion and creativity and just people having a lot of fun making an awesome experience. So thank you to everyone who has helped make this game what it is.
Awesome. So from my end, thanks everybody for playing. Thanks for the teams, just the passion for season 6, what we did. The reception from the community was really good. It makes a lot of fun for all of us, I would say, to just get together.
We wouldn't be here without you guys.
Exactly. So thanks everybody. And again, Comet, shout out to you, Exodus Archives, and for being here with us today. Really cool. We hope you enjoyed it. That's the main thing. I hope you had fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you, Comet.
Yeah.
Really,
awesome.
Thank you for being here.
And then we'll be back with more podcast episodes in the future, of course. But in the meantime, you can get in touch with us at #InsideBattlefield on our social channels or podcast@battlefield.com. So from all of us here at our Battlefield studios, stay classy and PTFO.
See you on the battlefield.
And we forgot cookies.
See you on the battlefield.
That's my end.
Oh, gee, the cookies.
See you on the battlefield, folks. Thank you. Thanks, Comet. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.